Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and today we're playing Time Gentlemen Please. Now this is one of the games that I've gotten for free since I started my YouTube channel. Not because I'm a video game critic, but simply because it was free on Steam at the time, or it was code that was tweeted out. Anything that was like that was open to the general public. But because I got it for free, I'm not very invested in this game, and that's particularly true for this game, and we'll get into that in a second. But so because I didn't invest in this game, because it's not something I picked per se, I'm just gonna try it for 30 minutes. That's what I've been doing for November for Thanksgiving. In a lot of ways, I suppose I'm being rather ungrateful with the things I got for free. I'm glad I have them. I'm glad they give me an opportunity to play things that are different, but let's face it, this is video games we're talking about, and if something's not entertaining, well, simply it would be entertaining, but you're just not open to it, you should just not play it, and probably not buy it. Now, specifically for this game, I don't have a lot of hope, because Time Gentlemen Please is from the same creators of the point-and-click adventure game, Been There, Dan That, and we've already played that one, and it was awful. And we can see that there's a similar animation style here. I wonder if it's going to be the exact same characters and the exact same mentality. If that's the case, I'm probably not going to like it too much. And let's face it, there was a lot of problems with that point-and-click adventure too. I did later on find the Samaritan Paradox, which is a game actually worth playing, and I played it all the way through. It did suffer at the end quite a bit, but I kind of wonder if So What's the Plan might be a subtitle here, but I don't think it is. Yeah. Been There, Dan That is the predecessor to this game. Great. So I'll already give this, like, I couldn't even figure out how to fix the television aerial in Been There, Dan That. And maybe that was the whole game, was just solving that one puzzle. And the graphics did not look as good as this. They looked worse than they were. And it really does feel like Been There, Dan That was barely 20 minutes of actual gameplay if you knew what to do, and and that might explain why it was incredibly difficult to find a solution. If there was a solution at all, I kind of wonder if maybe there wasn't now. Is this all the story of what happened in that game? If you played through it? Now, I'm not going to criticize this game for not having any voice acting, even though the original one did have a little bit of voice acting. Here we hear some of it, some sound effects, voice acting, 2 weeks later. But certainly hurts all games when there's a lot of text. And this is what we saw in Been There, Dan That. Is this terrible animation style. And apparently you need both of these games, which were at least at part separately sold. We have the same bundle. I left all the needle junk I pilfered on our last adventure back at the flat. They're UK, so they have those few differences in their language. So crowbar, lighter. And see, this is just really a little slow at the beginning of the game to have all this dialogue explaining why you don't have characters. Why don't you don't have anything on your... I think they've done a... So they've done a better job this time, but neither one of these games feel like they should have actually been sold. Like, honestly. Let's see, speech quickness, you could turn that up to the maximum. Let's go ahead and do that because I already know I'm not going to play this game. There's no way I could play this game knowing it's the sequel to a previous game I've already rejected. Very rarely is there an instance where that would make sense. Like, sure, if you want to play Hitman 5, you don't need to go play Hitman 1, and you can't get Hitman to run anyways. If you want to go play the last in the first series of Tomb Raider games, you don't need to go back and play the very first Tomb Raider game. Of course, a lot of those series have been just kind of either soft rebooted or completely rebooted, so there's less of a reason to even play the old games. But when you're talking a direct sequel, this is particularly why I've never decided to play like the Mass Effect series. I tried to play the first game, didn't get through it. So much was changed in the Mass Effect 2 to improve it a little bit, and then Mass Effect 3 had trouble with its ending. But then, generally speaking, I think Mass Effect 3 was probably a decent game up to its ending. And then the Mass Effect Andromeda came out trying to reboot the series, and that game has lots of bugs and laziness, and they've abandoned any hope of trying to make that into like a new trilogy or anything, so we won't see anything new from Mass Effect for a long time, and if ever. Whereas something like the Assassin's Creed series was very iterative because they were coming out with at least one or two a year, and so because the enemies we're fighting are just us from the future, our handprints probably will open the garage door. I guess not. But I imagine that's what was supposed to happen. And we're like the first game. Stuck in a room. Or two. Some sort of dead cow. So much text here that I just don't care about. And I just played an RPG Maker game, and it's the same thing over and over again. It's like too much talking. Couldn't care about these characters. We're not getting even a basic sound effect when the characters are talking. I would prefer that, honestly, if there was a just sound while the text was playing, versus just complete silence. But yeah, there's no way I could play this game. I've literally checked out the second I realized that this was a sequel to the previous one. I had a little bit of hopes that maybe the company that had been there Dan Nat maybe learned a lot, maybe took 6 months or something and made a better game. Maybe there was a different person in charge of the next project. Maybe it was a different team from a medium-sized company. But more of what I've already rejected, you kind of don't even need that. And see, compare this to like Sam and Max. I think even the original Sam and Max games had talking in them, or at the very least talkies versions of them. But but having to read these jokes, I'm not even gonna read them out loud. I don't care. I don't care what this game has to say. It looks awful. It sounds awful in probably one of the worst ways you could sound awful, which is to say it doesn't make any sounds except for a stagnant just a stagnant background music. You can see I can play the game, and I'm making little bits of progress. And they've done the exact joke twice now in a row. That's not a callback, that's just repetitiveness at that point. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Like, a game like this shouldn't be on Steam. It shouldn't be allowed on Steam. Interesting thing has happened since I recorded Ben Dan that. Steam has finally decided to kick off one company that flooded the market with 173 games that were just kind of asset flips, and it seemed like it was more, would have been better described as 173 levels all being sold so that people could get sales for people obsessed with getting trading cards or achievements. I think at this point it's not even trading cards anymore. I think it is more achievements that are convincing people to buy really cheap games. I don't know why. I believe there was a Star Trek reference in that dialogue somewhere, and I don't care. Like, I imagine the creators of this game think they're pretty funny, but they've lost me as an audience. Like, if this was a stand-up act and I was in a comedy venue, like just out for the night, trying to listen to people doing stand-up comedy, I would have gotten up and left at this point. I would have honestly gotten up and left in the first game, and then if they said, oh, he's coming back again tomorrow, I'd be like, well, I'm not coming back tomorrow then. This kind of still has a consistent issue of I never really figured out what their deal with this is anyways. Like, we found one item and that's it. And then I just accidentally double clicked somehow and ended up in the back in here. And like, seriously, let's try to take this more serious. Let's see what this is. There's still a timeline and some photos. Why would future Dan and Ben? Maybe they had... Man, I sped up the text too fast. I forgot I did that. Here. Let's go back. Speech quickness all the way. Hey, Wizzy graphic effects. Let's turn that off. 2. Cursor sound swoosh. Okay, to close. Apparently racism is the... Alright, well, let's just turn up all the racism while we're here. I don't need information about a dimensional hopping adventure. It only happened a fortnight ago. I'm that rubbishy old forgetful future Ben. I'm sharp as a tack present Ben. I can remember it all perfectly. Maybe that's the special power that Yang bestowed upon you. The remarkable ability to remember things that just happened. Can it you? Alright, and that is... Okay, so there's one pixel I could have hit. I've tried multiple pixels there. Wow, one of those keypad jobbies. In the future, we all get all sophisticated. I could cover up the keypad again, but I think I'd render covering our tracks a nigh obsolete exercise. Alright. Let's now try the interacting with the keypad. Hey Dan, what do you think the code's likely to be? What code would we use if we weren't us in the future? We don't want to get it wrong in case there's some sort of booby trap. Man, this is... F it, we'll just put in 4444. Oh, whatever. And see, it's just the same gag over and over again. They literally don't understand comedy. Like, you cannot just do the same gag over and over again and make people laugh. I don't think you'd find very many people to say they enjoyed this game or found it funny at all. So if the game involves time travel, let me just throw a thought out here and probably be proven right. I bet you're going to just go back in time to places you would have been in the first game. That way, the creators of this game don't have to animate things twice. And because this is obviously very cheap looking, and I think that's exactly what 2 weeks later in 1945. And there's a coat hanger, and now this is just supposed to be a alternate past or Hitler and dinosaurs. So Dan und Ben, we meet again. Oh bollocks. Zombie Cow Studios present the late intro. Honestly, I would not buy anything from Zombie Cow Studios. This is their first two things that I've seen of theirs, and unless they came out with a way better looking game that promised a lot more, they would have to impress me even more than a brand new company, because they put a bad foot forward certainly here. And the intro just rewound backwards. I never trusted you, Hitler. Double-crossing Nazis. I can't believe we didn't see this coming. Like, this is just controversy for controversy's sake. It's not gonna be smart. It's not gonna be a good reason. They misspelled artifact there. Coat hanger of doom. Coat hanger with very special powers. And of course this is made with Adventure Game Studio, which is a very old engine that needs to stop being allowed on Steam, I think. I've made the argument that Steam should break... here, have us killed. I think Steam should have a section where it's small independent games that are for free. Maybe you get some money in your Steam wallet and then that money gets transferred into coins, so like a penny turns into 100 coins, and you can get most games for like 100 coins or less. Like, honestly, games that would be free flash things you'd see for free on itch.io. I think Steam needs to start having that aisle in its store and just pushing games deeper and deeper into that. And in a sense, they kind of are doing that with their discovery engine. Let's just keep trying to kill the characters. Because now it's a lot more difficult for a random person to see a bad game, and yet if you're seeking out a ridiculous, terrible bad game, you really have to work and can find it, but most people won't. But honestly, they need to certainly draw a line. I feel like the company making this game is just embarrassing themselves. They've given their company name a bad name here. This is just this is just not gonna convince people to buy your game. It really isn't. This silence with a few probably purchased sound effects, probably not made by the creators of the game. Almost certainly. Like, how many video game creators actually make their own sound besides voice acting at all? I would say probably none. Or very little of it is custom made. Let's see. I'm just clicking on things for no reason. Just trying to see if the story will go forward no matter what I click on, which it probably will. But the writing here is bad writing, in my opinion. There is a style of comedy, probably several styles of comedy, that I don't appreciate, and this is certainly one of them. But I also feel like that there is also room for me as a critic to say there is such thing as bad comedy, and this feels just like bad comedy. And it's a very thin line between good comedy and bad comedy. Any joke that is said can be worked into probably a good joke, or almost any of them, but you really have to really have to work on it and refine it, and this feels like it, and not just have what feels like two people living in a dorm room somewhere having fun. Honestly, this level of animation is below what you'd expect from a college level artist. This level of writing is below what you would expect from a college level writer. There are things like Time Cop, certainly, where a 2-year-old tells his older, I believe, stepbrother, who's like 20 plus years old, what is supposed to happen, and then the older brother animates that 2-year-old's ideas, and that has a little bit of a niche appeal, but it's actually not even that good either. And then there's things like Adult Swim, where they do crass comedy and silliness, but there is enough people in the writing room for most Adult Swim things, so that there's at least somebody trying to add something, something intelligent to it, something that maybe it's subversive comedy, but at least it's actual, an actual effort. It's not this. This isn't funny. This wouldn't be funny if it was a 3-panel comic. Like, maybe then you could write one joke in a 3-panel newspaper comic or type style, or even a 6 or 12-panel comic to set up a joke and write it. Maybe then you might get to something like this, but still, look at like Peanuts comics or Dilbert comics or Garfield comics. Look at some of those famous ones. They don't look like this. This is laughably bad. Even if this is so bad, you can't you can't even claim it's an artistic style legitimately. It's just not good. This angle here, for example, like, doesn't follow really much of any logic at all, and it shouldn't be there. If you wanted to have the arm of the rectangle, sure, but adding this, I don't like it. The hexagonal, not half hexagonal, half circular gear here, not good. Not good. And when you start looking at faces and hair and hands and the skinny, even more skinny at the top than the bottom feet of the robo-dinosaurs. Like, the fact that there's white eyes on the robot, but also white claws that look the same. Like, this is an eye, this is a claw. It's kind of hard to tell the difference. You could be easily mistaken and think that this is supposed to be a claw just protruding from the face. Why is there a little line here that breaks up this black square? Wow. I'm a little surprised I've even gone 30 minutes with this, honestly. Like, I'm just 100% hating all of this. And we've seemed to have gone through many of the lines of conversation, and it's taken that long to get out of this scene. It's taken 30 minutes to get just to talk out of this section for no reason. Of course, I wasn't paying attention to what I was saying, so maybe I could have done this a lot shorter, but in that 30 minutes, I've not seen anything really funny said, and I've seen very little animation other than the mouths moving up and down. And we're just looking at what is effectively one still frame of animation. A scene where we won't walk, a scene where we won't pick up anything, a scene where we won't look at anything or interact with anything. As I said. So, not only was that a waste of a scene, that was a waste of 30 minutes. You can see these marching dinosaurs, moving at 1 frame a second. So the guy slipped out of his shackles and because he's being starved, according to the guy. Let's see, can we skip through all of this? Let's just skip. 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 And they take him out of the room. Does he drop the file or something? Nope. And they shoot him. Okay. I'm sure that was supposed to be funny. And we're back to the game, and I don't even really need to save. Yeah. I suppose if you loved everything about Been There, Done That, Time Gentlemen Please is a follow-up for it, so you should play it. But for the 99.999999999% of the rest of reality, this is just bad. Really, really bad. And I know Steam doesn't want to make decisions about quality on their storefront, but frankly, that's what every other store has to do. Your grocery store makes decision about, does it give you rotten fruit or does it give you fresh fruit? Does it give you spoiled milk or does it give you fresh milk? Does it sell the toy that could greatly injure your child, or does it sell the toy that has been safety tested and has some quality behind it, some small amount of quality at least? Every single storefront has to do that, and Steam cannot be an exception. This is not a quality good enough to be on Steam, in my opinion. I think most people would admit that too. And even getting this game free, I don't want to play it. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.